Which is better? Sir, BBA better hai ya BCom better hai? I keep on saying you can't compare an apple with an orange. I want to do BCom honors because BCom honors is much better than BBA. That is not the thing. Is it future ready? When you pass out from any college after 5 years, is it leading you towards entry level job?
Should I get into a private university in India or should I look at exploring international?
I feel the landscape of higher education has changed in India in a big way. If you have an aspiration to go abroad, then you must always aim at a top ranked Ivy League college.
You interview students. Typically, what are the criterion you look at? What are the parameters you look at on the basis of which would you select or reject a candidate?
If you really want to invest, life, you want to get associated with Jindal Global University, the more you dive down, the probability of taking a pearl gets higher. First, explore yourself, then explore the institution, and then explore the program which is the best fit for you, keeping your career objectives into mind.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this podcast, Demystifying College Admissions in India. Today, as part of this series, we have the pleasure of having with us Mr. Vikram Singh Tomar, who heads admissions for OP Jindal Global University for the Business School as well as the Banking and Finance School. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir, and it would be such an honor for the students to listen to you about their queries, the questions, the doubts and myths and misconceptions they have in their mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alok sir, first of all, for giving me this wonderful opportunity, because I feel it is very important for all of us to share the information, because these students are our future. And I'm grateful, and I believe whatever conversation we have today and whatever reflections I am able to give, it will surely going to add some value to their decision making.
I can fully understand that and respect that, because I have been knowing Mr. Tomar for maybe over a decade.
Yes,
right? And
almost a decade.
it is always such a pleasure to meet up with him, and I don't feel there is any formality which is required. But having said that, we at alokbansal.com have been mentoring students all these years, and we have handled more than 30,000 students. We have mentored them, guided them to ensure that they achieve their career objectives. Sir, I have a lot of questions for you. In fact, before I came in, I did look at our database and figured out what kind of questions people today have. So, OP Jindal Global University is definitely a very premium university in the country today, not only in Delhi NCR. A large number of students prefer going to the university. It's also a university which is institute of eminence in the country. So, sir, when people are applying for a business program, a typical question a high schooler has is, would I require maths because I want to pursue business, or banking and finance, or without maths can I apply? So, sir, I just want to understand what is the selection process and the eligibility.
Alok sir, I must admit that this is a very important question, because when I passed out class 12th way back in 1997, and if I have to say, this word maths has always been, haunting the life of students. And I always keep on candidly saying that, India is full of free advisors. Whether you want an advice, you don't want an advice, people are free to give advice. Coming back to your question, definitely with time, the need of the corporate world has changed, and therefore the curriculum also needs to be altered to make job ready professionals. Yes, of course, if you are looking for programs like business analytics, you are looking for something into the area of data science, financial markets, then having maths in class 12th is surely going to add value, because you are not reading something which is very generic in nature. It requires a deep level of programming languages like Python, R, Tableau. Without maths, you will suffer, and you will later on not be job ready.
Correct.
Therefore, pick your specialization carefully. If you are looking forward to do a program in BBA honors, let's say marketing or HR, then maths is not mandatory. But yes, it is not maths, it is basically statistics. But generally, we hear it as maths. And I feel at school level, if we are not having a friendly teacher of maths, it always leaves an impression of phobia in our mind.
Correct.
And we run away from maths.
Correct. Interesting, very interesting. Sir, before we really move forward, I also wanted to understand, for the benefit of the viewers here some background about yourself. You have been part of this education industry for a very long time.
Yes.
So why don't you throw some light or maybe give them something about yourself?
So I basically belong to Dehradun, born and brought up over there. I have completed my class 12th way back in 97 and I am a commerce graduate. So typically like every, Indian student who grew up in the late 90s and when everything in class 11th in terms of subject selection is decided on your 10th board marks. I was never a chemistry person. So
Okay.
I used to like physics, I used to like maths, but chemistry was my weak area. How I managed to clear 8th and ninth with those valency and formula, only I know or my chemistry teacher knows about it. But yes, if you want to go ahead with science, you have to take PCM. I never wanted to take that risk because at the end of the day, what I wanted to aspire was very different because I come from Dehradun. So I always grew up looking at that, olive green uniform of the Indian Military Academy, and I wanted to aspire for CDS
Okay.
or maybe NDA. So I took maths, but maths in those times was very different. We were being taught as commerce student the maths which was being taught to the engineering student.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was a very different time, and I completed 12th, but I took a very brave decision. And that brave decision was nobody would even imagine that somebody, or I should say, not a brave or a foolish decision to think of dropping maths in class 12th in the month of January
Oh, that's
because we have the board exams in the month of March. So I went to my teacher and I simply said, "Ma'am, there is a problem." And she said, "Which topic?" There was no topic. And I said, "What is the relevance of maths in
in
my
my life.
life? Why am I studying trigonometry and calculus? Because that is not required at all in the area which I am venturing, which is probably management education."
Okay.
I completed graduation from Dehradun. I completed my master's in 2003. And in 2003, when I was just 23, 24 years old, I decided to make my journey in education,
Interesting.
but not as a teacher,
Very
because
interesting.
education means teachers. I
Yes.
was on the other side, and many of my professors that time used to say, "Vikram, what are you going to do in this gray hair industry? You should think of the corporate world." And I was always fascinated because, whatever I was seeing till now, sitting on the other side of the table, God has given me an opportunity to sensitize the new generation about subject selection,
Correct.
about course selection, and most important, college selection. And with the advent of social media and all coming in after 2005 onwards, I saw that it's not easy for a child
To
of
decide.
today to decide.
Correct.
So it has been a fascinating journey. I enjoy a lot. I interact with the youngest generation every year, and they always ensure that I stay young.
You are definitely young. Oh, so you definitely look much younger than all of us or people of your age. And that is very interesting to understand that, sir. So I understand that your energy comes from interacting with youngsters, mentoring them at all the
Yes.
times. You were telling me about new projects and new initiatives you are launching at your level at the university, which is very interesting. Sir, there is a big question people have today is that should I get into a private university in India or should I look at exploring international options? I mean, very difficult to answer, obviously, because people have their own interest. But what is your take on that, sir?
So this is a very interesting question because I have seen there is a radical shift in the mindset of many of the parents when it comes to overseas education. My take is very simple. Until and unless you are getting a good top 100 or 200 ranked university, you should not end up going abroad to any random college
Fair.
because it's a huge investment. The scenario which was 20 years ago in India was very different, but with the advent of some good names in India at the UG level, I feel the landscape of higher education has changed in India in a big way. And there is no harm even in studying in India, utilizing those opportunities, and then take masters. But yes, if you have an aspiration to go abroad, then you must always aim at a top ranked Ivy League college, or if not Ivy League, a pretty decent college.
Fair enough. I think that's straight to the point actually. Yes, sir. I would 100% concur with you. As a company, our focus has been that when we mentor students, we follow the same philosophy that either you get into the top-notch universities abroad, which is top 50 for us, or else don't go. And then you have universities like OP Jindal and maybe other premium universities in India. Why don't you go to these universities where you get an all-right exposure, learning, opportunities to intern, right? That's an opportunity which is available. Sir, I also encounter these questions from students on what is the application process for applying to a business school at your place or maybe a banking finance course. When should they apply? What is the process? And when can they begin?
Okay. So we have a profile based selection process. We typically start our application form in the month of November. The application goes live. Then we have three different exams. A student can appear through JSAT, which is our own entrance exam, Jindal Scholastic Aptitude Test. It is conducted by Pearson India, and it is then followed by an online interview. So we have first admission cycle which goes from December to January. Then February typically is the period of the board exams.
Yeah.
So we don't want that your attention should be diverted, and we want that your February and March you should focus towards your boards. Then again in the month of April we have our rolling admission process. Admissions are on first come first basis, and different programs have different number of seats. So a BBA program, let's say if it has marketing, finance and HR, which is the biggest cohort, it has a total intake of 300.
Okay.
As against a program which is BBA Honors Business Analytics, which is having only 40 seats. So I don't know when these 40 will be filled.
Fair enough.
Therefore, I always keep on saying students that look, there is something called as I introduced almost 18 years ago, tension-free board exam policy. So at that time I was working in UPES, University of Petroleum, and India never had, I'm talking about 2008 or 9.
It's long back.
Yes, much more. So when I was working there, I always used to think typically in India, the undergraduate application starts after the board exams, correct? After the CBSE and ISC exams are over. I said, what if someone thinks of going for an early admission and how it will impact the life of that student? So I named it at that time in a very funny way, tension-free board exam policy. So, and obviously, because if I'm selecting a student today in the month of December or January, I am analyzing that student on the basis of 10th marks, their SOP, their entrance, and their interview, right? The same parameters will go in the month of April also.
Correct.
And May also, until and unless your 12th result is out. But if, let's say, Vikram has a provisional offer of admission in the month of December or January from a college, it will ease a lot of pressure, and Vikram can focus more on his board exams, and at least he has an offer. God forbid, if he doesn't want to continue later, he has the flexibility to take a final decision. But yes, I feel as a class 12th, 17, 18 years old child, if somebody has an offer, have secured an admission, paid the fees, it is a wonderful decision that yes,
I'm going to this university and I'm joining.
Exactly.
So I think it's very, very interesting, sir. I mean, that comes back, that brings me back to a particular notion. Internationally, we say that, okay, if I have to join my college in 2026, which means I'm appearing for my board examinations in March of 2026 or whenever, I must submit my application by October or November of 2025, which is precisely what you're saying, which is pretty progressive, I would say. So ideally, you are suggesting that the message I want to take away from this is that you must submit an application early, which could be in the month of November and December. You have to appear for this test, which is JSAT. You have to fill a SOP. You have to appear for an interview, and you can block your seat, which is obviously there are very few seats which are available. quite early, which is November and December, so that you can appear for your board examinations tension free. That's what he
Exactly.
said, which is interesting.
I have been historically, if I go with the data, now in 2024 and maybe in 25, my 35 to 40% admissions, they happen much before the board exams actually start.
Well, that's very interesting, sir. When we talk to parents and when we mentor them as part of our process, we tell them that if you submit an application early, there is a huge, huge advantage you have. First of all, tension free.
Yes,
Second is now you have only one focus, which is your board examinations.
absolutely.
Correct. And even tomorrow, you want to have another option of going to a government institution for which you have to appear for CUET. That is going to happen in May. Right. So why don't you block your seat right now and take a decision? I mean, you want to visit the campus in October, November, see for yourself, go through the process, get a seat which is there, and then you are happily placed.
And with that, I want to add one more thing. Like, as per the refund policy, whether it is Jindal or whether it is anywhere else, as per the UGC policy, the deduction is only 5,000.
So there is no
Correct.
risk.
So there is no
fin-
risk, na.
There's no
You have
financial
ample
risk.
of time because your board results will come in the month of
So you
May.
have too many upsides which are available.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great message for people if you really want to get into premium universities in India. Also, the best policy is to apply early. Which when early, uh, nearing your pre-board examinations, maybe October, November is an ideal time to submit an application. So that's a very, very important message, sir, which you have given me. Also, sir, another question people have is that how do I decide that I want to do business management or should I look at banking and finance? For an example, some people say, oh, business management, literally every university has a business management program. So it is, I mean, yesterday some parent was telling me, some mother was telling me, sir, business management is everywhere. So why should I select business management for my child? Uh, so what is your take on that, sir?
So this is not a new question. If you are facing, let's say, 10 times this question, I would be facing at least 30, 40 times.
Correct, correct.
Because typically in the Indian context, if I have to share, and if somebody wants to go into the field of management, which is better? Sir, BBA better hai ya BCom better hai? I keep on saying you can't compare an apple with an orange.
Fair.
You have to see, first of all, that yes, if I am planning to go in the area of finance, then finance, what we are witnessing today, is not it was even 5 years ago. Post COVID, the way digitalization has happened, how AI has taken control over the world of finance through apps, through mobile banking, through digitalization, everything has changed. So you must first of all revisit what is the course which you are good at. There is no point that if somebody is just getting 70% in accounts or maybe 65 in accounts and you are saying, oh, I want to do BCom honors because BCom honors is much better than BBA.
Fair.
That is not the thing. You must go and research about the curriculum. What is being taught to you? Is it future ready? When you pass out from any college after 5 years, is it leading you towards an entry level job? That's my take.
Interesting, sir. So I think a great message, and maybe I would say it's a summary of all the years of experience and interaction with your students. You interact with industries which are hiring. You hire, which means you look at the admission process. So you are able to interact with people and figure it out. So I think people who are wondering that is business management the course of action for my child, let's understand typically it is also a demand supply kind of an issue in the sense that today why do so many colleges have business management as a program is because the industry demands it, industry requires it. That's one. Secondly, you have to choose the quality which is available to you. So should you go to any business management program in the country? No, you should be selective and you should ideally look at a premium university like OP Jindal Global University or similar, and only then you should be able to join that university. And or you should also look at what is the course of action you have for yourself, what is the goal you are trying to chase.
Exactly. You should not be choosing a college friends. Let me tell you, it's been quite disturbing to see that all of you today are filling at least 12, 15 different application forms. Do you really need this much of backup? Ask this question. But the problem goes bigger when you change your choice from college to college.
Correct.
That should not be the case at all. You are preparing for IP MAT, you are also giving CUET, I'll apply for Jindal, I'll apply for Narsi Munji, I'll apply for Shivnadar, I'll apply for Ashoka. What do you want to do? Don't pick a college. Pick a course first, then figure out what are the top 3, 4 colleges which are best for that. Check the faculty profile, check the curriculum, check the peer group. What is the student profile? It is very, very important with whom you are sitting. The greater the diversity of a class, the better is the learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sir, internationally, colleges encourage study tours or college visits, as they are called. And in fact, you conduct summer programs to give you that, give students an exposure. So do you genuinely recommend that people should visit OP Jindal Global University before they have taken a decision? Should they see the campus for themselves and interact with you as part of an admissions committee to see for themselves before they take a call?
Alok sir, I will be very candid with you. I always believe in one thing, and that is seeing is believing. Whether it is taking admission at OP Jindal University, whether it is taking admission in any other institution, have a feel first. Research is very important. Do the primary research from the website. After you go through the website, visit that particular college and then interact with everyone as much as possible. This generation is so lucky, you would agree, we never had the legacy of social media.
Correct.
But if today they want to interact with any senior who is studying at OP Jindal in any program, they are just one click away on Instagram or maybe whatever like LinkedIn and all.
Yeah.
But the problem is
They don't use
they
it.
don't use it. They use it, but their purpose is not defined.
Very defined.
So I always keep on saying it's an investment of 4 or 5 years, your hard-earned money of your parents. It's all about what choices you make.
Correct.
So pick your choice very wisely, because once you take one step, there is a lock-in period of 4 years. And with the new national education policy, all the honors degrees are now for 4 years.
Correct.
So how can you think that, okay, fine, I decide and I join a college and after 6 months I am feeling, no, Papa, I am not liking this place. I don't find the right kind of a crowd. So where will those questions come from?
So absolutely. So what you are saying, sir, is the message for youngsters is that do your due diligence before you apply. Start early in the process. Maybe visit the campus, interact with the existing students, meet up with the faculty members, meet with the admissions team to understand exactly what kind of a university you are getting in. And that's very important. And honestly speaking, I mean, the ranking or tags like Institute of Eminence come from a pedigree of students, come from the kind of rigor which is available, the kind of placements which are available. So all of that put together really tells you what kind of a university you're dealing with. Sir, there is another question people have is that my son wants to pursue entrepreneurship. I want the child to come back into the family business. And that's very common in places like Delhi, and maybe you go to Indore and other places also, you find that. And counselors tell my child that, okay, BBA is the best course for you because the child would get that exposure. Would you agree with that, sir?
So I'll give you a very classic example. So in OP Jindal University, we started the BBA Honours program in 2016. So the first batch was graduating in 2019 and the second batch was to graduate in 20. We all know that in March 2020, COVID stuck, lockdown happened and everything closed. So when we were interacting with our first batch of student and second batch who was supposed to pass out, there was a starking observation we got that more than 50% of the students are interested to first go back to their family businesses. They want to support their parents in terms of whatever academic learnings they got as electives, and they would want to then work for 2 years in their own family business and then think of masters.
Very
So what we did, we introduced first time in the history of India, an undergraduate management degree with the name of BBA Honors Family Business. The idea was very simple that in India, more than 90% of the businesses are all family driven.
Yeah.
Take example of Reliance, Haldiram, Bikaner wala,
Literally
anything.
everyone.
And typically when the business shifts from the first generation to the third generation, there is a sharp decline because the family tree has grown so big. Who's going to take care of what? There are so many complications with respect to hierarchy and decision making. So we introduced something called as BB Honors Family Business
Interesting.
under business school. Then we later introduced a program called as BCom Honors Finance and Entrepreneurship. So many people ask, so finance and entrepreneurship?
Very different
So I
areas.
keep on telling them, look, to do a business, you only need two things. You need a sound business idea. And if you have a business idea, you look for an investor. Either you invest your own money or you will see people on Shark Tanks. So we offer two programs. One is BBA Honors Family Business. Second is BCom Honors Finance and Entrepreneurship.
Interesting. So I think quite well-researched programs which are available. So you are
Yes.
saying that, okay, if somebody wants to get back to the business, there are multiple options of programs which are available.
Exactly. Why do you want to do a plain degree or a course which doesn't adds value to your ultimate objective? If you want to take care of your business and that is pretty sure in your parents' mind, then at least study all those subjects which will help you in future to run that business effectively owing to the global competition we have.
Fair enough. Sir, another question people have is regarding the admissions process. And people are pretty confused. They go to various coaching institutions and seek help, which is absolutely valid. So when you interview people, when you interview students, typically what are the criterion you look at? I mean, I understand you have to write a statement of purpose. You have to go through an interview. So what are the parameters you look at on the basis of which would you select or reject a candidate, sir?
So let me put it in this way, in a very candid way. First of all, it's better to be confused at an age of 17 than to be confused at an age of 25.
Which is
Right? Second, if you want to apply either for a college or you want to apply for a job, the few things which are looked more than your grades, which will fetch you an admission is, first of all, clarity. Why you are doing it. Number two, confidence. Am I really meant to do it? Ask that question. Third, your personality, your communication. At times, you may feel that communication is not just speaking in English so fast that you are using a foreign accent to impress someone. No. Are you able to transfer your idea using right words
okay.
to the interviewer? That is very, very important because at the end of the day, we all are looking for disciplined and visionary employees. Am I right?
Correct.
So even if I want to hire someone who has to work with me, I would like to not just go back what happened in his or her life in class 10th, why didn't he got 90? I would simply see in my interaction what value addition is the person able to bring. Is he innovative? Can he in future lead a team? Can he work in a team? Can he handle criticism? So guys, don't be at all worried about just of your class 12th marks. They are not going to define you, first of all, what you are going to do in the next 50 years. But yes, they are important at the same time. Don't fail to give your 100%. Your commitment and consistency are two things which is going to define your entire future.
Very interesting, sir. I think you are giving a lot of inputs to these youngsters. In fact, I was talking about selecting a particular course. That is what you said, and you're talking about personality. When we start mentoring a student and we do a psychometric analysis and we tell them that we really look at three things, which is the interest level of a child. Has the child tried to explore various dimensions of his personality, his or her personality? Second, we look at intellectual capacity, which we feel is everyone has that intellectual capacity. And third, we advise them is that you must understand your personality traits, right? For example, we say that know thyself. Do you know who you are? And that is what you were saying, sir, that personality is a very important characteristic of being selected for a course and ultimately for your life, right? Am I making sense, sir? Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. If you want to go into the field of marketing and if you have a shy personality and if you are waiting for the other person to first come and say hello and then you will respond, I think you
Then
are
it doesn't
totally
work.
mismatched in the
Correct.
field of marketing
Correct.
area.
In fact, today people come to me, and I remember last week I had a slight argument with one set of parents who were insisting that the child should do data science because data science is a hot area
Oh
today.
my God, it is, at times I feel the students don't need counseling. It is the parents who need counseling. They are
Yes,
what they are so
absolutely.
much after their children's life.
The parents are also listening
Exactly.
to
I
this,
think
sir.
parents, the
Parents,
biggest problem is we all want to go into the 22nd century. I keep on saying this example. We are living in the 20th, but we are still following 16th and 17th.
so parents also need counseling.
Parents need counseling. It is not just the
I'm
students.
I'm so happy to hear that, sir. But obviously, so somebody was saying that, okay, I want my child to do data science because data science is hot, and I was very clear that the child does not have a personality trait of being able to sit on a table chair for a longer duration. The child needs a social setting to perform. The child is very suitable for a business management program. So that was a debate or a discussion which was happening. So I think I'm happy to hear from you your views on that, sir. Anything else would you like to talk about Jindal Global University, sir?
So not because I'm working about Jindal, reply is coming. But being an educationist, having spent 23 years of my life only working in higher education, I feel JGU is a brand. It is an undisputed leader. It is itself a case study because no institution in just 15 years of its existence has made it so big.
Correct.
Coming it as an institution of eminence, there are only 4 private universities in India which are being able to, get this status. It is among top 800 in the world as per the QS World University rankings. So, if you really want to invest your life, you want to get associated with Jindal Global University, I feel you must start doing your research very well because JGU is like a sea. The more you dive down, the probability of taking a pearl gets higher.
Okay.
You're not studying in a business school. So let's say if our new national education policy is talking about something called as multidisciplinary
Yes.
learning, right? We
Yes.
all have been hearing it. So how we inculcate? So maybe let's say I'm doing BBA honors in business analytics. You may be doing business BBA honors in HR. In business school, we are being taught our subject areas.
Yes.
But tomorrow, as a student of HR, if you are getting to study a sub elective from Jindal Global Law School, which deals in sexual harassment laws at workplace,
Which is related.
which is very related. If I am doing, let's say, entrepreneurship program, and at the same time, I'm taking an elective which is offered by Jindal School of Government and Public Policy, and it talks about something in terms of a policy for startups and entrepreneurship,
Quite quite
relevant.
important.
So,
Yes.
JGU adds a lot of value because we don't judge you on the basis of a funnel on the basis of certain subjects. We give you a plethora of subjects, but then I always keep on saying more the option, more is the confusion. So you need to understand and start researching. First, explore yourself, then explore the institution, and then explore the program which is the best fit for you, keeping your career objectives into mind.
Certainly, sir. I think that's quite well said, sir. Quite on the dot. We keep telling students that unless and until you have clarity of goals, um, they would not be able to achieve any objectives, right? I mean, for an example, I'm just to highlight that I tell people that if you have a meeting scheduled at Rajori Garden at 9 in the morning, basis that you decide which is the path or the vehicle you would take to achieve that goal of
Absolutely.
reaching Rajori Garden at 9 o'clock. That path and vehicle can change but you have to be doubly sure on what would provide you a level of certainty of being able to reach Rajori Garden at 9 o'clock. So that planning has to go.
Yes.
Right, certainly. Also, it is important for students to understand some messages which we are taking away from this podcast are that you must do thorough research about the university and the course which you want to pursue. You must be sure about what is the long term objective you have, what is the vision you have about yourself, where do you see yourself 15 years from now. Basis that, which course and which university would enable you to achieve that goal, right? You must reach out to people like Mr. Vikram Singh Tovar to get further guidance, and you must understand the admissions process of the university. You must start early in terms of applications so that you are able to safeguard your seat at a prestigious university. So this is some of the messages or one of the messages I wanted to pass on to. Sir, any specific message for youngsters today?
The only last message which I want to give to all of you, choose a course first and then make your college list. Don't do vice versa.
Yeah, that's interesting because people say, "Oh, I want to get into this college. Which course? I don't know, but I just want to reach that college."
So
And
you
that
would
is
be
an
surprised to know I have data that a student has applied for 6 different programs within OP Jindal University. He has applied for law, he has applied for BBA, he has applied for journalism. No, you listen. These are only 3. He has applied for banking and finance. He wants to do liberal arts.
the child simply wants to reach your university.
I
That's
don't
it.
know, sir. Reaching is very easy. But you know what you will do after reaching for next 4-5 years, that should add value.
No, I think you rightly pointed out, sir, that today's students should also be very cautious, and parents should also see how many universities the child is wanting to apply after 12th or during 12th, because there is a money involvement, there's a time involvement, there's an effort involvement which is there. So they must reach out to respective people in the industry to seek guidance, and that would definitely help them.
And they must seek guidance from right people.
Correct.
That's more important because if you are having a problem with respect to your heart and if you go to a neurologist, I think you are making a blunder. You can't expect a right answer to come. So it is people like them. If you don't want to trust us because we are particularly working in an institution, go to an educationist who has given 30, 20, 35, 40 years of his or her life. They are the right people who can tell you and guide you that where you are going wrong. Rest is up to you. We are here to just guide.
Very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
Alok
for
sir,
such an
for
enlightening podcast. And I think students, parents, the entire fraternity would be benefited out of this, because I think we have got a lot of clarity on the admissions process, the logic of joining OP Jindal Global University, the prestige which is available. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Alok sir. Thanks for inviting me for this. And I believe more the students of tomorrow are informed, the better they will be prepared for the future. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, one specific question I had for you is that should a child choose a private university or a government university?
So this is a very tough question to answer, but out of my limited wisdom, I'll still try to answer. When it comes to a country like ours, parents typically, when it is a school education, they feel their child should study in best private school of that city. But the moment the child passes class 12th, they feel that the education is best in a government university because over there you have 50,000 applications, you have 2,000 seats. The mindset is very different. I myself come from a government university because none of the private universities exist in year 97 or 2000, and therefore I keep on saying that don't compare an apple with an orange. I'm not against the government universities, but I feel now after year 2000 there's a big change. The way the private universities have adapted this change so fast in terms of redesigning and redefining their curriculum. They don't have all the reservations and quota policies. They believe in giving fair chance to everyone, and plus the diversity is very, very important. So you can't compare an apple and orange. But yes, if you have limitation for funds, if you can't go and invest 4 to 5 or 6 lakhs per annum, then I think anybody would be forced to take on a private government college.
University.
Otherwise, There is no harm in choosing a private college. Do your research well, because then the options are plenty.
Correct. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.